If you've ever felt frustrated at not having enough time to do the things with your horse that you want to do, then what I'm going to share in this video will probably be helpful. Give you a few things to think about and also a specific exercise that can help you begin each ride in a much better mental place to get the most out of that ride. I'm Callie. I'm here with Ellie. She's one of the school horses here at the farm. And you're watching my weekly show where I share riding tips, horse training ideas, and also horse care information and advice. In today's video, we're talking about this idea of the quantity of time, the amount of time that we're able to spend with our horse or that we're able to spend working on our riding compared to having quality time. So we can all identify, I think, to this problem of not having enough time to be able to devote to our passions such as riding. But I would challenge you to think about the time that you do spend, whether it's a few days a week going out, seeing your horse and riding. Maybe it's one weekly lesson, or maybe you're lucky enough and you have your horse at your farm and you're able to spend a little bit of time with them each day, but of course you always wish that you could spend more. But if you think about that time that you do have, what are some ways that you could make that more quality time? I'm a big believer that it's not the amount of time that we devote to something that's most important, but it's how focused and present we are in that time. So I think there's kind of three main things to think about to give the time that we have more quality. And the first one is focus. So it's being completely focused and attentive to the task at hand. Whether that task is as simple as walking out into the field and greeting our horse and spending a few minutes just being with them and brushing them, whether it's riding and it's just a really short ride, but you're going to walk around, you're going to practice a few things from your last lesson, or maybe it's a lesson and you only have that 1 hour a week, so you want to stay really focused the whole time. The other part of this is this idea of presence. And of course, they basically go together. But presence is just being in the moment. It's noticing your senses. It's noticing what you're feeling in your body. It's noticing the reins in your hand, the feeling of the saddle against your legs, or the brush in your hands, or just the horse's hair against your skin as you're petting them. The other thing, the third piece, is observation. So whenever you're with your horse, think about noticing all of the little things. Start with even just noticing their expression. Do they have lines of tension around their nose, around their eye? As you're touching them or you're moving with them, are they moving in a relaxed, calm way? Or do they have maybe a little bit of stiffness or a little bit of tension in the way that they're moving? The more that you can observe these little signs from your horse and little behavioral changes, it'll tie right into the idea of being more present and being more focused and in the moment in what you're doing. So this is kind of the big picture, kind of the heady view of how you can make your time more quality. But what I want to do next is I'm going to hop on and I'm going to show you a really simple way to start your ride that will help you start every ride in a really good place to have these three elements. I mentioned this was going to be a really simple exercise. So when you start riding, to do this exercise, you're just going to think about your breathing. But there's a way that you can think about your breathing that will make it easier to keep your focus there and that will connect you to your horse. So first, just a quick little refresher. When we think about breathing effectively and breathing in a way that's going to have a calming effect on us, we want to think about breathing into our belly. So instead of taking a deep breath and coming up here in your chest, which is going to raise your center of gravity, instead think about taking a deep breath where it fills out your back and it fills out your belly. So if you had two hands here, when you inhaled, you would feel the space between your two hands getting bigger. So you're going to breathe in rhythm with your horse's steps. A good rhythm for a lot of people is about 4 steps, but you can experiment. You can change this to maybe 3 or maybe even 5, depending on how you breathe and also what your horse's stride is. So I'm going to inhale for 4 steps, And then I'm going to exhale for 4 steps. So as I do this exercise, not only am I taking time to breathe and breathe in a way which helps me to become calmer and helps to soften all of the connections kind of around the pelvis and all of the different muscles that aid in respiration, but it's also going to help bring your focus simultaneously to your breath, to your body, and also to your horse's movement. It's one of the exercises that I use if I'm starting a lesson and I notice that the students in the lesson maybe seem a little bit tense or just a little bit scattered, or I just want to bring more of a cohesive feel to the group. I'll ask them to just spend the first 5 minutes of the ride being quiet, focusing on this really simple breathing pattern. And it's amazing how simple it is, but how it really helps to start the ride in a much better place, both mentally and honestly physically as well, because of the way that it relaxes you and helps to regulate your horse's stride as you relax and you think about that rhythm. So I hope you enjoyed this really simple tip. And now I would love to hear from you. So leave a comment down below and tell me one thing that you do to help the time that you spend with your horse be more quality time. Instead of just thinking about how can you spend more time, how can you take the time that you already have and just make it more quality? This is a really big topic as we're thinking about right now. It's the holiday season as we're filming this. So we're thinking about the holiday season winding down this year and starting into the new year. And starting January 1st, I'm going to be running a rider's goal setting workshop. So keep an eye out for details on how to get signed up for that. It's a great way to start your new year, and this idea of taking the time, all of the resources that you already have, and being able to do more to get further, whether you have big goals or whether you just want more of that feeling of confidence and connection with your horse, is going to be a big part of our goal setting workshop. I'll also be back next week continuing this topic and sharing a really simple groundwork exercise that you can do to also work on making the most of the time that you have.